the radiation at around 60%. If you go, and this is our glass type called pyrosis, if you go with a special coating against the fire side, we are down to a radiation of 35%, and if you take the version with gel here in the EW classification, you have reduced it with nearly 90%. That means that you get 10% transmission. If you go for the insulating version, you have less than 2% of the energy from the oven going through the glass. And this here is the difference between dead or alive. Show you again here. We have an opening here at 2.64 square meters. You can see after 30 minutes you have in a class E where we only have protection against the fire but not stopping the radiation. You have 12.2 kilowatt here, and that means that after 15 kilowatts will give you at a meter's distance a second burning degree after 2 seconds influence. 2 seconds. It's not a long time. And this is after 30 minutes. If you go to class EW here, or here you're down on 2.2, and then you should up to nearly 120 minutes before you have fire move to the other side. Now we change the oven opening from 2.64, which is not very much, to a more realistic one here, 8.25 square meters. You will see here, already after 15 minutes you have the fire. You also have the fire here after 30 minutes here. But here it only starts a little bit after 60 minutes, and here nothing. And also be aware that fabric furniture's dry wood appears to burn when they get 10 kilowatt on after 10 kilowatt energy. So if you have a chair standing up, you have moved the fire from one room to another if you get more than 10 kilowatt. That means up here, there can be some situations where we clearly recommend to use it, but normally we should down here because the risk of spreading the fire is very high. You can imagine if you have a hospital, for instance, can you assure that you always have no chairs standing up at the glass? Can you assure that all the patients laying in the bed, you have rescued them within 30 minutes, 15 minutes? I don't think so. So that's why the specification is very high, that the needs in the specification is very high when you talk about schools, hospitals, kindergarten, and so on. Pyrosis, yes, I just said it's the lowest classification. We can do it in single glass, laminated, double glass, what you like to. Concentrate light as well. Let's go continue. Concentrate, single glass, double glass. This is let's continue. Yeah. There's a lot of different data sheets on different glass solutions. It's a very wide product range, so you can get data sheets of or Calumen versions of what you have defined you need to use. So we can offer you that in German, French, English, also Norwegian language, of course. Here we describe a lot of technical data such as sound reduction, thickness, light transmission, U values, so on. The good thing with fire glass is that it's very is very dead because we talk about water in combination with some chemical between the glass. So you can feel here it's very dead. That means that we have the opportunity to reduce the sounds at a very high level. And that is no, it's two pieces of glass with gel between. So only the gel you can feel it that way. So that means also that it is highest safety rules 1B1, 1C1. If we talk about sound reduction, we are heavily equipped with different documentation, different reports here. We can shortly deliver such reports like this, covering dB specification here, 38 dB for instance here. Here you have the curve, and here you have the public curve, and here you have what we have measured, and the average will be a dB. We can go up to, I think we have 54. This is a short overview of what we have. The specific version comes from 30 IDU. Here we have what we have as a normal tested, public tested, and here's what we have calculated. Due to the amount of data, we have a system that we can calculate any glass make-up specification you would prefer to have. We have a very, very big computer placed in Paris where we can calculate, according to the CE norms, any sound reduction of the make-up. It takes a week, but we can do it. Normally it's needed when you talk about concert arenas and hospitals and some areas where they really need to reduce sound, where they have a lot of different offices around and they need to be sure. Yeah. Vetrotech always use tempered glass, and there's two reasons, or more reasons for that. The first of all is that we get a very strong glass. You are secured as a person very, very much. We are allowed to produce glass that goes from floor to ceiling, and it's very easy to not easy weight, seen from a weight point of view, but it's very easy to install it because breakage is very, very limited. We nearly have zero transport breakage with our tempered glass. That means if you get the glass in the building spot, you can install it properly. You do not need to wait for replacement and so on, which have a value for the installation companies. Yeah, transport, handling, and of course for the end user, because it's more safe. You can go to it with your shoulder and without any problem. In this brochure here, I think some of you have already taken it. We have mentioned the different fire-resistant glass types here. And also the most important thing maybe is the technical specifications at the two last pages here. It describes that it always is UV stable. That means that you do not have any risk for getting grayer glass after 5 years, 10 years, because our gel is UV stable. The challenge for us is that if you have temperatures less than -10 degrees, it will start freezing a little bit. And higher than 40 degrees can also be a problem. Typically here in the north we have the problem with the minus temperatures, which means that we in the winter time for the northern part of Sweden and Norway need to deliver in heated trucks. And the opposite way, we just run a big project in Riyadh for the foreign ministry, and we need to deliver it in cooled containers, and it's not allowed to install it before the cooling of the room is established. So it's from the very warm area to the very cold area, but we can handle it. And it is because of the gel between the glass. I said in the beginning, we can use wood, aluminium, steel. It is quite costful to make some of these tests. It can easily, as a public test, cost at a test lab, cost 10,000 euros per test. And normally you need to do some pre-test before. So Vetrotech have decided to develop test reports by ourselves covering some solutions in wood, which means that if the producing company produce according to our description here and use the glass we have described at the specified dimension, maximum dimension, they can use our test reports, because it is quite costly. If a person needs to produce, for example, one solution of this, it gives no sense to invest 10,000, 15,000 euros in test reports to have documentation. So we help with that and have that as a guide to help them to produce. It's not very fancy, it's not very smooth and thin, because we do not spend time to reduce, to retest and reduce and retest. We just produce a solution that we are sure will work in a fair situation. Then we come to steel and aluminium. This is normally the main product we produce, even though gel-based door solution use a lot of fire-resistant glass in combination with their door system, but it's small pieces and they have their own test lab, so that's another story. We have here steel producers, Stokovic from Sweden, Forster, also steel, Janssen, also steel. We have Schüco, we have Saka as aluminium producers. And this guide, system guide here, tells about which fire classification do you need, what is the system name, what is the use of it, is it a door or is it a facade solution, which glass type do you need, and the maximum dimension. So it's an easy to use tool. If you sit and should describe something, take that and look at, okay, aluminium, I prefer Sapa, I prefer Schüco, I need a door in classification EI60, then the name is so and so. Easy to work with. Yeah, that's Schüco. Schüco is one of our really big customers, partners. We also have documentation for installation in concrete. Again, you can say, is it nice? Yes or no, but it works. You can see here we have described it from 1 to 8, how to install it, in what, the top ceiling, the glass, everything is described. We have the test report ready. If you follow that, you are approved. Because it's, at least in Denmark, it's not very often we have this situation. But maybe you have it here in Iceland, I don't know. Yeah, it's a part. It is the chili, and it was a little bit fast because it's not over now. We have another product range which we call counterform structure. It's a bond joint old glass partition system, which means that it's frameless. If you look here, it's fastened in the top and in the bottom, and only silicone here between. It means that it gives a very nice view and look. If you look around, look. Here you have a hotel in Stavanger. And again, because the glass is tempered, you have